We got Jonathan that's here tonight. He's his wife couldn't be here. She's with the kids tonight. But come on up, Jonathan. Come on down. So, well, yeah, he's a jokester. He always liked to play with me. My heart almost dropped when he told me I'm not coming.
So, Jonathan Cox. My wife is Amy. We've been married just over 6 years. We have a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, a 1-year-old, and she's due again in July. So we went full Catholic. So our first son was born almost 9 months to the day from when we got married, and when we came to the 2-day seminar, she was 7 or 8 months pregnant, sitting in one of those chairs, all huge, looking at me like, "What did you get me into?" Yeah, went to Texas A&M, graduated 2009.
Right,
Yep,
that's in Texas.
that's right. And I had a mentor.
You went to Texas A&M, John Pry? I've never seen you not wear a Texas A&M shirt. Oh, no, once I did.
I had a mentor at A&M, professor there, that I was in the Knights of Columbus with. We did a lot of Catholic events with, and he had a boatload of rental houses. And so I asked him, once I graduated and got into a career and realized this is horrible. I don't want to do this forever. Traveling all the time, away from the family and all that. I called him up and I said, "How in the world did you get all the houses, and where'd you learn how to do it and everything else?" And he said, "Man, he's not a member anymore." But he said, "You need to look up this group." And so as soon as he vouched for it, that was it.
All right. We'll go to the next one. And so, oh, okay. So
we have to, by the way, I was supposed to tell you, we got to tell Sam when to turn the slide.
Okay. Don't have my clicker.
Failed.
All right. So basically, you joined Lifestyles in 2015, and because you wanted to get educated. You want to elaborate?
Yeah, so joined in 2015, wanted the education. Also, I'd bought a house and I wanted the vendor list. And I wanted the discounts on appliances, and I wanted all this other stuff. And I was for the money, I might as well just join to get all this way, way cheaper product. And that's how it kind of started. And then I said, well, if I'm here, I might as well start getting the education. I paid for it. This is way cheaper than an education at Texas A&M was.
Yeah.
So, take advantage.
By the way, I just got to add, if you're a member, most of you are, when you go to buy paint for the first time and get a member discount, you realize how you've just been getting hosed the whole rest of your life. They charge, what is it, like 60% of what retail is? It's crazy.
Oh, and appliances is another bit. It's crazy. So anyway, went to that's why we joined, and then kind of sat on my hands like a lot of people do for years. And then you look back on it and go, man, what a waste of time. I wasted all that time sitting around not doing anything. And so I didn't think we bought our first house until maybe 2018. So it was 3 years until we bought our first house, and sold that one, made like 1,100% return. We turned $9,300 into just over $100,000 in 3.5 years. Sold another house.
Say that again. Say that again.
Don't
you go way too fast.
You gotta have the shock effect.
Oh, sorry.
And I took 5 cents and I made $1 million.
So our first house, we bought a flood house down in Houston from the hurricane, $9,300 out of pocket, and we sold that one and got a check for just over $100,000. That was in 3.5 years.
So that's like a 10x of your money, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Not to mention we were cash. The cash on that house was 48% a year as well. So like we had everything paid back in 2 years, made another $10,000 on top of it, another $10,000, and then sold it and made $100,000.
That's not even the case.
That's not the one we're talking about.
You get that for free.
Sorry.
You get that one for free.
But that's pretty good, don't you think?
We did it and sold that last year. We sold another one, 23 out of pocket, made 120-something thousand on that last year. Turned that, invested in a multifamily. So
Jonathan's struggling.
Yeah, it's been a tough go, but that's why I say sitting around for 3 years. You look back on it now and go, I cost myself probably $200,000 by sitting on my hands for 3 years instead of actually just doing the first deal.
And getting started, and I sympathize with a lot of people because I understand. This is your first time maybe first time hearing about real estate, never really, grew up around it. So it could be a little intimidating. You could be a little scared. But the fear is okay to have. You just can't let it stop you, right? Okay, all right. Tell us about your aha moment. I know you're telling me about you're in one of the 2 days, and this statement kind of stuck out.
Yeah. So this is I'm a reader of any business book I can get my hands on, and begin with the end in mind. So when I started my career, I said, this is my goal. How much am I going to need to retire? And when you start figuring it out, and I make good money as a fluid power engineer, I looked at it and I said, I'm going to need $10 million by the time I retire. That's crazy. That's insane. I'm like, if I make $500,000 a year and I live on 100, I'm still going to struggle to get there. That's crazy. And so as soon as I realized that, that's when real estate came in. And then when I went to the 2 day and they said, your 401k is not going to do it, because basically you build it up, retire, and then hope you don't run out of money before you die. And my parents are running into it right now. They can't get their money out of their 401k because they're worried about taxes and they're worried about this. And this year we started emptying our 401ks out. So we're like, this is the dumbest.
Well, I just want to talk about that for a minute, because the thing is, I was in education, and my wife, she was in IT, and so she would always lose her job periodically, and we would always cash it out and take it, and we jumped into real estate. And so it made a huge difference. So, like, even as a teacher, we were just talking about this tonight. You work 30 years, you get $100,000. I mean, 30 years, $100,000. I mean, what is, like, that's crazy. When you can, in real estate, we've been doing transactions, and I'm not saying you're going to make $100,000 a year, but I'm saying you can make that in way less time in real estate versus working 30 years.
And you're in control of it, and that's the big thing for me. Is that's why I left my job in November of 21, not because we were rolling or anything else, but we looked at it and I said, next year I could be a real estate professional. We're going to make $250,000 selling off real estate. Why in the world? I could just do 2 houses a year every year, buy a couple, sell them 3-4 years later, make at least 100. This is me talking, not lifestyles. But you just look at it and say, why in the world would I work 52 weeks a year, 60-hour weeks, when I can make twice the money in 12 weeks?
Now, wait, I got to pause you. You threw out a lot of terms. I could see eyes glazing over. What did he just say? He talked about real estate professional. That is ends up resulting in huge tax benefits. We'll talk about that on the weekend. Come on over. One of the things I wanted to back up and just point out, one of the things we also talk about during the 2 days, your mindset and how it changes. Remember how we all realized sitting in this room, we had the middle class mindset. Remember? Go to school, college, get a good job, blah, blah, blah. Did you hear that in his story, how it started to change for him? That doesn't work. I made 10 times my money on a property and 48% a year on the cash flow. Maybe that's a better path. You could hear it in the story that he told. That is a mindset shift, and a lot of people have a hard time making that shift. That's part of the reason we teach the class is to make those transformations. So I thought it was great that you shared that. Thank you.
And so this is the property we were talking about tonight. These are some pictures of Forrest and Euless, the before and after, so you can see the transformation for us, like what he went in. You can want to talk about a little bit about what you did.
Yeah, super easy rehab. This house is actually across the street from my house. So the woman that lived there, her and her husband, he passed away unexpectedly at 39. Just didn't wake up one morning. Him and I were friends. I went over there and said, "Look, you don't have to worry about anything. I'll take care of this house. You don't have, you got 3 kids. Focus on them." Fast forward 3 years later, she goes to sell it. She's marrying another. She's dating a guy. They're gonna get married. He has a bunch of kids. Everything worked out. She tells me, "Hey, I'm gonna sell this to We Buy Ugly Houses or whatever it was, and this is the price that I'm gonna sell it for." And I said, "Hey, you're crazy. I'll give you that for it." She said, "Really?" "Yeah. When do you want to close?" So 4 days later, she said, as quick as you can. Got the money, closed.
So how cool is that? Do you think his friend was happy that she's selling to a friend?
And that was what she told me.
She got the price she wanted, right? Do you think
said,
he was happy?
Victor would love the fact that you got this house instead of somebody else. So
that's awesome.
I knew all the warts in it already. I knew the problems with the roof. I knew the plumbing. I knew because I'd been under that house. I'd been on the roof. I'd taken care of it for all those years. So I knew exactly what I was getting into, which is why the decision was so easy to make. So the rehab was like a little over $7,000 and a good chunk. I did all the work myself because it's across the street. So when my son was taking his nap during the day, I go over there and paint for a couple hours. And then from 7 o'clock till midnight every night, I would go over there and I would do flooring and I'd do all this other stuff. I had the rehab done in 3 weeks. The tenant moved in as soon as I was done. Tenant found through a neighbor. We were out there talking. She was asking questions about it, and they said, we just hired this girl that needs a place to live closer by. So got the price that I wanted, and easiest transaction I've ever done.
Yeah. Now, don't get scared. Some of you like, well, I don't know how to do all that work. Okay, most people don't, right?
This is the first time this has ever happened. Every other time has been like every other story of Lifestyle sending out an email blast, and I did the contractors, and I did all that. Every one of my other properties has been like that. This just happened to be one that I needed to get out of the house, and my wife needed me out of the house.
So don't be afraid. You could get someone to do all the work. All right, next slide. So
I was going to say, if you did it in 3 weeks part-time, because you're doing it in the evenings, right?
Yeah.
A contractor probably could have knocked that out in a week, wouldn't you think?
Yeah. Yeah, probably, yeah, less than 2 for sure. I mean, all it was some flooring and paint mostly. And then the plumber went under the house and I didn't do that. Another neighbor who's a plumber came over and got under the house, and he replaced all the plumbing. And that was included in that $7,100.
Oh, wow.
So, Jonathan, the first deal you threw out there, you made 10 times your money, so you got to impress us now.
Well, we'll see. Yeah, so $2,100 is my out-of-pocket. Cash flow about $667 a month, a little over $8,000 a year. So yeah, it's doing okay. Equity capture, 70,000, and that's actually that is a very conservative number. It'll end up being more than that for sure.
So, yeah, everybody on this street, you know what I'm saying, is helpful.
Can you guys read the numbers I wrote up here on the board? He made 70. Yeah, I don't want to do it again. He made $70,000 in equity capture. What was his out of pocket? 21. I already did the math before because I was like, wow, that's a lot. What is the percent return here? 70 divided by 2,100. We have an engineer. What is your return?
3,333%.
3,333%. Is that better than 10 times your money? Can you do that in the stock market? In 3 weeks?
Wow. It's very impressive.
In fact, I got to write that number. It's so many digits.
I think some people thought we left off a zero.
333% return.
Yeah, 81. Yeah. So this is a powerful story. I mean, and think about it. I think one of the most. What is the dividend on your Tesla stock? Well,
Zero. I knew the answer. Yeah. 300. Sorry to interrupt you. 381%.
But the cool thing about lifestyles, and I'm gonna pull out, is we believe in the abundance mentality. And see, and when the story, I didn't know about this until you just said it, but the thing I liked about it, well, I knew that you bought your neighbor's house, but I didn't realize that you helped her. And see how he, just blessing someone else got blessed. I love that part about your story, man. That was fascinating. So just helping people, I feel like if you give it out, it's gonna come back. So that's amazing. That's amazing. And so
before we go on, I just hit one other point. A lot of people see numbers like this, and the people that have watched way too much HGTV go, "That's cool. We should flip houses like that, right?" But there's a huge problem with that. If you sell that after 3 months, you get hit with a massive tax bill. And if you do it over and over again, you're considered self-employed, and you get hit with a bigger tax bill. By the way, he's going to make 381% return on his money just holding it. If he holds it a year and a day or 3 or 5 years, whatever it is, and then sells it, it's long-term capital gains. His tax bill is significantly smaller than if he was flipping. That's why we don't flip here.
And you'll learn that on the weekend.
And we will talk about it more on the weekend.
All right. Tell us about how has your life changed?
So obviously left my job in 2021, and it wasn't I wanted to. My wife came home, was angry, had been traveling, working long hours, and she just said, "Look, you're not being the best husband, you're not being the best father." And of course, as a man, your ego just goes, "Oh my." And I said, "You know what? You're right." And she said, "Just quit. We don't need this. Just quit. We don't have to do this anymore." And that was the end. And so that next week, I was out. But it gave me the option. if I had had a job, my wife has a job that she loves, she wants to keep doing it. She works from home. She gets everything she wants out of her job. It works out great.
So you're a real estate professional now, right?
Yes.
Okay, because you talked about that and you scared a bunch of people that didn't know what that meant.
And
so
this is the first, we're doing my 2022 taxes right now.
Have you finished?
No. We're in the process of going through it all with the CPA.
That would have been
right
a good
now.
story.
And that's the crazy thing is we sell these houses and immediately I went, in like 5 weeks, we got checks for $230,000 and I just went, what in the world did I just get myself into? And turn around, multifamily investment, cost segregation, depreciation, get to write off. We're going to pay. We had some carryover depreciation. And I know you'll go over all this, but just
Jonathan likes to use big words that most people don't understand.
It's insane. Like you don't understand until you actually do it for the first year, like I'm doing it. And I didn't even understand 3 years ago when I first started buying houses. Yeah. And now I look at it and I go, we make more money making less money. Because we're keeping more. We're keeping more of the money that we earn.
There you go. We'll teach you guys all about that. Like I told you, I will show you my personal tax returns, and I know that might have gone over your head if this is all new to you, but you will see in my personal tax returns the exact same story that he just told.
Okay, so
we'll go slower.
What time of the day that's going to be?
You're coming too?
I'm messing with you. But so advice. Did you give advice for newbies?
Get involved, get connected, meet people, talk to as many people as you can. I've never gone up to talk to somebody ever, and they walked away or they were rude or anything else. And I know plenty of people that I did the 2-day seminar with that walked away and haven't seen them since. And I legitimately think about them often. I'm like, man, how mediocre are things going for them right now? So get involved, stay involved. Whenever you kind of hit that lull, which you will, because Dell always says, what gets in the way of a great life, a good life. So you kind of get complacent of, okay, like I'm happy now, I'm good, I'll stop right here. And then you go to an event like this and you go, man, this guy I could do that. I'm smarter than that moron. Like, I could do that job.
Jonathan, I didn't want to say that, but there's a reason we bring people up on stage.
Yeah.
Don't worry, they brought me up on stage.
Stop insulting my yes, man. I'm sorry. I thought it was a compliment. I'm sorry.
Beautiful thing about America. People that got straight A's in high school are typically the people that end up working for the C students.
Yeah. I gotta tell it because it's a fun story. How we ended up becoming leads, I was trying to convince my wife that we need to be leads. We went to the expo, and we met a bunch of people, and at the end of the expo, they had the leads, they have an event where the leads can meet the preferred investors, and one of the leads walked across the stage, and she went, "They're leads?" She looked at me and goes, "We gotta get our shit together." And that was it. So I know exactly what you guys are saying. They're looking at us up here going, how the hell did those bozos do that? God. You can do it.
Okay. That's not Lifestyle's motto. That's not LU. No, okay.
And we'll redact all this bad words in the recording.
Listen, this is not being live streamed, so we're safe. We're safe tonight. All right. Edit that, Sam. Edit that. All right. All right. All right. So short. I'm sorry.
You need a moment, Adrian?
I know it. I just walk away, drop the mic. It's over. All right. Short-term goals. Short-term. Yeah.
Short term, we'll become lead investors. That's the next step.
Because it's a low bar to be one, right?
Yeah. Not difficult at all. No, I mean it's one of those things that we've seen what we can do with single family. It's time to scale up. It's time to make the move, and it is the same fear that you're talking about, jumping in and getting it's the same fear to make that next jump, to go, oh my, I'm going to be responsible for other people's monies. I'm going to be responsible. I'm going to have to hire employees. I'm going to have to, like, it's a whole new set of uncomfort that you have to get over. And so that's the next step for us.
Long term?
Long term, basically go back 300, 200 years, get off the grid, get away from everybody else, like buy a piece of property, be completely, I mean, we do a lot of that already with chickens and garden and everything else, canning. preserving, all that kind of stuff. And so we want to bump that up by, I just saw 45 acres in Colleyville for sale for $21 million. That's the ideal place for me to be. 45 acres in smack dab middle of Colleyville.
That's a goal.
That's a goal.
That's pretty cool, man. And so, next slide. We can do the next. And so, let's talk about who everybody, most people know Laura. She's used to be one of the mentors. She was around when I think you first came in.
Yep.
Yep. And so the vendors, tell us the vendors.
CPA was big for the taxes this year. Used CRI. And then insurance, used Lee at Integrity. And once again, all people that you call, they pick up
Lee here?
They pick up their phone. Where is he?
Is it Lee? Oh, he missed this. He had his 15 seconds.
Free commercial.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, and then I did, like I said, I did all the work myself in 3 weeks, about 6 hours a day.
If you had about 30 seconds, but I want to say something. The very important on that last slide, he said his circle of friends had to change, right? And especially staying plugged in. You just don't know how many times we had events that people would show up, and then they would talk to me later how they were able to get in the deal because they were encouraged by another person, like you said, doing something. So if you had 30 seconds just to reach out, people coming to the 2-day, people that, maybe have, gone inactive and trying to get back active, what would you say to them? Just, 30 seconds of speak to them.
Just come to an event, come in person. In the age of Zoom, come in person, meet folks, talk to them, get a feel for who they are, and figure out why they're doing what they're doing. And that's the big thing. I don't think there's a single lead in this room or anywhere in lifestyles that doesn't look at it to say, I can improve the lives of my investors, my family, the people that live there, the community. I mean, it is the abundance approach. And so once you kind of understand the reason of why, you feel a lot more comfortable with the type of people and why we're doing what we're doing. It's not just to get filthy rich. That's a bonus.
Now we take the money.
We take the money.
We take the money, but it's not for the money.
Jonathan, I'm really glad you ended there because landlords get a really bad rep in media. But you saw the house and the change that he made in that. Do you think a resident would love to live in there? The person he bought it from, were they happy with Jonathan? Of course. Is Jonathan's wife happy for the returns that he got? Only 3,333%, Jonathan? I expect more of you.
Well, and
yeah, right.
It's just if you always do the right thing, it'll always come back, and I really believe that. And same thing in this house. When she moved in, there were cockroaches. I'd been in that house for years. She used to watch our kids at a daycare. There were never cockroaches. So either she brought them or they just suddenly appeared. It didn't matter. It was one of those things that were there when I moved in. We don't normally cover pest control. We paid the $400 to get all that taken care of because it was the right thing to do. The fact that we're making $667 a month helps us be able to do the right thing.
It's easier to be more generous.
Yeah, it's a lot easier.
3,333%.
Next year, you got to step it up to 4,000. All right. We're good. Did we take questions or?
Any questions for Jonathan?
That it?
Mr. John Pry.
It's Cox, Kocks, or if you're in Germany, it's Cokes.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
I don't know why John's writing your name down. He's coming after you.
It's Kocks. Kilo, Oscar, Charlie, Kilo, Sierra.
Military guy too, huh?
Yes, sir.
Ooh, maybe October of last year.
I think I need to go hang around with you.
Was that
I'll
the
tell you
property?
what, man, you got it going right. I mean, how many homes do you have?
We're down to 2. We
my
we
goodness.
sold the 2 in Houston last year. Made good. We were gonna sell one in San Antonio. It's close to San Antonio in a town called Schertz. We were gonna sell that, but the market started to slow down. I raised the rent $800 a month, put it back up on the market. It's near a military base, and we said we're not gonna rent it. We're gonna sell it because we're gonna make like $150,000 on that house. And a military couple called me They said, "Hey, we're interested." And I said, "Oh, I kind of meant to take that down." And my brother-in-law's in the military. They've been put all over the country, all over the world, and so I just said, "Okay." So now on that house, we went from making $200 a month to now we make $1,000 a month on that house. So we decided to keep it.
It's like you're batting 1,000, dude. Way to go, man. I mean, and how did you spell your last name?
Hey, the 3,000% didn't do it. It was.
Yeah.
Apparently, you're getting a lot of fan mail in the next few weeks.
I see you on podium, man. I'm signing up.
All right. Any other questions? What? The question was, who did the rehab in a San Antonio
Who
house?
did the rehab in San Antonio? And that's another important thing I didn't mention. This is my first house in North Texas ever. Every other house has been at minimum 3 hours away.
That's as far as Detroit is.
It could be. Could be. The San Antonio, I subbed it out myself. And once again, unhappy with the job. And so I quit that job, spent 3 weeks subbing out the house in San Antonio. So I just used a bunch of different subcontractors that I found through the Lifestyles vendor list.
There you go. Vendor list again. Yeah.
Did I go down to San Antonio? Yes, I did. Two or three times. The painter actually was so good. I told him if I ever do another house down there, I'll pay him an extra $10,000 to just meet people and everything else because he was that great.
Let me plug this in, and we just got to talk. Lee, raise your hand, Lee. Everybody know Danny at Lee. I'm talking to you, Lee. And so,
good job.
She's one of the LU. Want to stand up? I don't know. All right, so you can see. So, but we just got the. Yeah. So basically, I wanted to say this because you brought this up. It's more of your fear of investing outside of your area. It's more about your fear because we have people all the time investing in other places. So our lifestyle, our motto is live where you want to live, invest where you want to invest. Like we've had, like the midterm, I know Nicole has done a lot of investing for us, like out of state, and and a lot of the members. And so you don't have to, if I know, we have a lot of markets. Can I talk about the ones just opened up? Which ones? Mobile. Alabama.
You had North Carolina, South Carolina.
North Carolina, South Carolina, Alabama, Tennessee, Arizona, Kentucky, Kansas City, Missouri. And so we do these calls every month. And if you want to jump on and look at other areas, this is what you want to do. You want to jump on those calls on the fourth Thursday of every month at 6 o'clock. So just go on the portal and basically invest where you want to invest. Look at these other markets that are coming up. So
we got to roll, man.
All right.
So, I know you don't like to talk and you're very shy. But you've been great up here. Jonathan, give you guys both a hand. What an awesome job. Thank you.